Hi everyone, let's talk about WWE NXT from February 10th from last week. This show was a very good NXT episode. Let's talk about it. We hear from Joe Henry, and Joe Henry says he is the new NXT champion after winning the 7-man ladder match last week. Then thanks to fans for believing in him and admits to doubling himself a little. Sorry guys, right there. I'm just itching a little bit. Sorry about that. But carry on. Admit to doubling himself a little in his match last week, given that he never completely into a also again never compete in a ladder match, and says Ricky Saints was about to become NXT champion once again, but he heard the fans chanting that they believe in him, and that helps him find it himself to take out Ricky Saints. And he says he realizes in that moment that there was never any reason to double himself, but says he's been climbing up the ladder for years and winning the Olympic Wrestling Championship, having his theme song climb to the top of the chart, and facing Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41, and says he's just getting started and will take NXT to new heights. Then says, "We believe" isn't just a catchphrase. Then then we have the Fencity Projects. I'll say it again. The Fencity Project making their way out, and Jackson Drake says what Joe Henry said was incredible. He says Joe Henry should be a motivational speaker and start a podcast. Then says Joe Henry's in mid at best, and says Joe Henry goes viral for popping out of places where he goes viral for looking good. His in ring moment, he says Fencity Projects took out Joe Henry, and a couple weeks ago, before Joe Henry had disrespected himself and Ricky Smoke and Brett Baylor, and then Joe Henry begins brawling with Fencity Projects, but Jackson Drake lands a chomp block on Joe Henry, and Baylor and Smoke then fire off chomps on Joe Henry, and that's what happened right there, guys. Then we had Jada Parker versus Blake Monroe. This match was great till it ended in a count out. This was great till it ended to a count out. Sorry to say that, but yes, guys, this could have been better, man. Well, there could have been a winner in this match, but it was still a good match. But the count out. But anyways, let's talk about it. Anyways, guys, let's talk about it. Parker shoves Monroe and goes straight after her. Then the bell rings and Monroe fires right hands and chomps on Parker. And Parker responds with a German suplex to Blake Monroe and wears her down with a submission hold. Then delivers a press to her. And then Blake Monroe sends Jada Parker crashing into the corner and fires off right hands on her and spine. And the action spills out of the ring. But Blake Monroe dumps Jada Parker back in the ring during the break and then fires off, stomps on her, and she lands a belly-to-belly suplex on her, then connects with a sliding blade on her, then lunges in a crossface on her, then Jada Parker reverses into a pinfall, but Blake Monroe kicks out. Back from the break, Jada Parker lands her signature hop attack on Blake Monroe, and Blake Monroe rolls out of the ring, and the pair begin brawling with one another, and the ref then begins a 10 count, but neither woman beats it, and it ends in a double count out. Then I mean to say a count out, not a double count out. A count out, guys. A count out, not a double count out, just a normal count out. Then after the match, Jada Parker trips Blake Monroe across the ring steps. I'll say it again, ring steps, and the ring apron. Then lands a hip attack on her as officials look to break up the two women. And Parker sends one of the officials crashing through the barricade. Then we had Josh Brooks fences Elijah Knight in a one-round match for the WWE Speed Championship #1 contender tournament with I'll say it again, Eli Knight fences Josh Brooks. This was, not my cup of tea, these speed matches. I don't like how they're 5 minutes, like I've been telling you guys. I just don't like the whole concept of the speed thing, but you guys can like it, you know what I'm saying? That's your opinion. You can like it, though. The bell rings as the 3-minute time limit begins, and Knight lands a crossbody bridge off the middle rope, and Knight looks to fly over the top rope, but Brooks essentially him, and Eli Knight managed to level Josh Brooks with a moonsault off the rope onto the outside as the clock reaches 2 minutes, and then Josh Brooks set up for a chokeslam on Knight, but Knight escapes and rolls up Josh Brooks, and Josh Brooks kicks out, and Eli Knight levels him with a running knee as the clock hits 1 minute. Then Eli Knight then lands a moonsault off the top rope on Josh Brooks for the win, and that's how Eli Knight defeated Josh Brooks. Then, after the match, Eli live first. Also again, Elio Flyer joins Eli Knight in the ring and shakes his hand ahead of their final match next week. And Jasmine Troy blindsides both men from behind and chokeslams Eli Knight on top of Elio. I'll just say Elio. Then, back from the break, we see Robert Stone in the medical office with Loa Vice as an official pulls Stone and the doctor away to deal with another issue. And Jordan attacks Vice, and then Stone and the doctor then stop up on several members of the NXT roster that has been attacked by Carver. I'll just say that Carver, essentially the likes of Sean Legacy and Andre Chase. Carver is good. I'm telling you, Carver is great, man. I love Carver. I really do. Carver, man. I'm telling you, good stuff. Good stuff. Then we hear from Dark State, and Dion puts both Joe Henry and Jackson Drake on notice, telling them that he doesn't care who the NXT champion is by the end of the night because he'll be coming for them. And Cutter James addresses Tony D'Angelo and says Dark State is stronger than ever. Well, D'Angelo is loner than ever and says Dark State took over NXT by taking out D'Angelo and Daquan and also again Daquan and Osiris Gibson then addressed the cooling with Daquan telling Sean Spears and Nicole Finch that they're tripping if they think they will become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. And then Spears and Finch appear on the platform in the crowd, and Spears says, well, Dark State is all about the fighting and conquering. I'll say it again. The fighting and conquering, and the cooling plays first. And Vincent says the cooling press on weakness, and then says Dark State is in the hunt. Well, himself and Spears are the hunters, and OTM appears in the crowd, and Bronco says himself and Linton, I'll just say Price and Bronco appears. I'll say it again. OTM. I'll just say OTM. Figures that the Dark State will be in the ring, and Prince says the NXT Championship belongs to OTM, then says the cooling will wait till they have the titles, and then Tonk, I'll say it again, Tonk and Hank make their way out, and Tonk reminds everyone else that himself and Honk are the only former NXT Tag Team Champions, and Dark State and OTM and Walker and Lyncher begin brawling as D'Angelo spears Dion into the ring and lands a spinebuster on Cutter James before landing a second one on Dion. Then we had Joe Henry fences. I'll say it again. We had Joe Henry fences Jackson Drake for the NXT Championship, guys. This was a fun match. I loved it. It was a decent match. But imagine if Jackson Drake would have won the NXT Championship. That would have been crazy. But anyways, let's carry on and talk about this. The bell rings and Drake lands a suicide on Hendry off the middle rope, and he lands a standing moonsault press on Hendry, but Hendry sends Drake crashing out of the ring and follows it up with a body slam and goes for a pin, but Drake kicks out. Then Smoke and Baylor sent Hendry crushing into the ring, steps shoulder first onto the outside, but the ref catches them and sends him from ringside during the break. And then Drake continues to wear down Hendry and whips him into the corner spine first and wears him down with a submission hold. But Joe Henry lands a neckbreaker on him back from the break and follows it up with a fallaway slam. Then Drake lands a hurricanrana on Joe Henry, then looks to fly off the rope, and then Joe Henry interrupts Drake and sends him crashing into the mat with a powerbomb, then follows it up with the standing ovation for the win, and that's how Joe Henry defeated Jackson Drake. Then after the match, Ricky Saints appears out of nowhere and blindsides Joe Henry and leaves him laying out and holds up the NXT Championship belt. Then Hawk and Tonk then make their way to the ring, and we see them taking on Vincent Projects. This match was fun, in my opinion. I liked it, though, even though I wanted Honk and Tonk to win. But it was a fun match, even though Vincent Projects won this match by cheating and doing heel work. But anyways, let's talk about it. Guys, I appreciate all the love and support as always. I really do. I really, really do. So, peace and much love, guys. Peace and love. Then Brett Baylor and Lyncher begin the action. The bell rings and Lyncher lands an arm drag on Baylor. Then Walker tags in and runs the ropes, but Ricky Smoke lands a knee on Walker's spine from the apron, and then Smoke then runs. I'll say it again. Smoke then tags in and wears down Walker with a side headlock, but Lyncher tags in and runs over Smoke with a shoulder block. Then Walker lands a standing splash on Lyncher, then tags Lyncher back in, and then Lyncher sends Smoke crashing into the corner face first, then tags in Walker, and Walker sends Smoke crashing into the corner once again face first, then fires off a right hand and a left hand on his midsection, and he gets Smoke up on one another, but Smoke escapes. Then Baylor tags in and lands a drop kick on Walker into the ring and fires off stomps on Walker as Smoke rains down right hands on Walker from the ring ropes, and Smoke tags back in during the break and fires off an elbow on Walker, but Smoke jams his boot into the side of Walker's head, and then Lyncher tags in and sends Smoke crashing into the middle turnbuckle shoulder first. Then Smoke rains down right hands on Lyncher, then tags Baylor back in, and Smoke lands a shotgun dropkick on Lyncher's spine during the break. Then Walker tags in. I'll say it again. Walker tags in and lands a belly slam on Smoke. He runs over Baylor with a clothesline and a back elbow, then sends Baylor crashing on top of Smoke back from the break, and then sends him crashing into the mat first. I'll say it again. I'll repeat it again. From the break, and sends him crashing into the mat face first, and then sends Smoke crashing into the mat. I'll say it again. The mat spine first, and pins him, but Baylor breaks the fall. Then Vincent Projects double team on Walker, and Baylor pins him, but Lyncher breaks the fall, and Walker and Lyncher land a double splash on Brock. Oh, so again, excuse me, guys. Lands a splash on Brock. Sorry, I keep on doing it again. I'll repeat it again, guys, from the beginning. Vincent Projects double team on Walker, and Baylor pins him, but Lyncher breaks the fall, and Walker and Lyncher land a double splash on Smoke, but Baylor runs over and Lyncher with a running knee, and Lyncher then levels Baylor with a clothesline. Then OTM and the Cooling make their way out to the ring, but security hold them back, and this opens the door for Jackson Drake to land a running knee on Lyncher. Well, the ref is distracted. I'll say it again. Well, the ref is distracted, but the two teams onto the outside, and Baylor then rolls him up for the win, and that's how they win, guys. And that's how the Fantasy Projects defeated Hunk and Tonk, guys, with a roll up. I'll say it again. Baylor then rolls him up for the win, and that's how they won. Then we had the main event. Sol Ruka and Sarya fences Kendall Gray and Wentz Sinclair. Whoever gets a pinfall or a tap out receives an NXT Women's Championship, and it was Sol Ruka, guys. Sol Ruka, I'm telling you, So Ruka versus JC Jane is going to be good, guys. It's going to be a good match. Imagine if So Ruka gets the belt back. Oh man, I would love her to be champion again. Put your comments down below on that, guys, about So Ruka being champion again, if you would love that or not. Me personally, I would love it. And take the title of JC Jane. JC Jane is great. Don't get me wrong. I love JC Jane, but if she retains, it is what it is. But I think So Ruka, it's her time to be champion again. Said she was out of injury. You remember when she was out of injury for a few weeks or so. But anyways, guys can ask questions down below. Appreciate all the comments and thumbs up on the channel. I appreciate it. So let's carry on with the main event. So Ruka and Kendall Gray begin the action, and the bell rings, and the two lock up, and they go back and forth, boom, 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 bang, 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 with one another. But Sinclair then tags in and lands a drop kick on Ruka's head. Then Soria tags in, and Ruka uses Soria as a launching pad to level Sinclair. Then Soria tags back out to Ruka and pins Sinclair. But Soria breaks the fall, winning the NXT Women's Championship for herself. Then Ruka sends Sinclair crashing into the mat with a face buster, but Soria tags herself in as Ruka runs the ropes, and Gray tags in and brawls with Soria, but Sinclair tags herself back in, and Soria lands a double suplex on both her and Sinclair, and Ruka calls for Soria to tag her in, and Soria since agrees to tag her in, and Soria and Ruka land a double elbow drop on Sinclair, and Ruka pins her, but Soria breaks the fall once again as Soria and Ruka argue, and Gray and Sinclair blindside them from behind. They sent them crashing out of the ring, and Sinclair lands a moonsault off the ropes to take out Ruka and Soria onto the outside, and Gray follows it up with a moonsault of her own. During the break, Sinclair whips Ruka into the corner back in the ring and tags in Gray, and Soria backs in and whips Gray into the corner, and Ruka and Sinclair tag back from the break, and Sinclair lands a facebuster on Ruka, and then Ruka delivers a German suplex on Sinclair, but Sinclair rolls up Ruka, and then Soria tags back in, but Sinclair rolls up Soria, and then Soria kicks out, and then lands a German suplex on Sinclair. Then Gray tags in and looks to launch an armbar on Soria, but Soria reverses into a pinfall. Then Gray kicks out, but Soria looks to land an F5 on Gray. Then Gray kicks out, but Soria accidentally knocks Ruka off the ring apron as the ref since that Ruka has tagged in during the process. And then Ruka, also again, that's what happened right there with Ruka with the whole thing during the process. Then Soria lands a spear on Gray and gets Sinclair up on her shoulders, and Soria lands an F5 on Sinclair, then looks to pin her, but before she can, Ruka catches Gray with a cold catcher off the ropes and pins her for the win and declares the NXT Women's Championship. And Ruka and Soria won, but the person that got the pinfall was Ruka, and Ruka is the #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Then after the match, Final Influence music hits, and JC Jane and Fallon Haley and Lyndon Reed make their way out, and JC Jane hold up the NXT Women's Championship belt and stares down Ruka as the show went off air. I give this show, guys, an 8.5 out of 10. An 8.5 out of 10. I gave this NXT an 8.5 out of 10. It was a very good show, and I enjoyed it, and I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. And that's all I have to say, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always, guys. And this is CJD 2006. I'll say it again. This is CJD 2006. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always. And peace out and take care and much love.